Okay, let's try this. Oh, that was a great way to start the video. All right, so we're on to the next part of building this journal cover. So last part, we cut our front of mat covers out and our spine. So now we're actually going to build the book. So the first thing I want to do is I want to glue my spine. Glue my spine to a piece of fabric, and that's what's going to, let's get that out of the way. So glue my spine to this piece of fabric, right? And that gives me this fabric that's gonna glue the spine to the two covers and give it some nice stability in there. And you always want to leave a gap so that you can open and close. If you were to do it like this, no room to open and close. So even if you notice in a book, if you notice in a normal book, see that? That's because there's that gap between the spine and the cover. So that's what we have to do as well. All right. So what I've done is I've chosen a fabric that I don't care about. It's not going to be seen. I really don't see me using this fabric a whole lot ever, and I have a whole lot because it's a sheet. So I'm going to use this as one of the fabrics that's not going to be seen. And then I'm going to use this fabric that you'll only see a little bit of in between the signatures. So I've been debating on whether I want to stamp this fabric. I don't know. I'll still keep debating on that. But let's get to this. Move these out of the way. And it doesn't matter which way I go because, again, it's not going to be seen. Now, this whole book inspiration comes from Debbie over at Ink and Page. And so I got to give kudos and props because this is her idea, her thing. And I'm just following along because she's got some great ideas. Now, when she did hers, she used Mod Podge to glue it. I am not going to do that. I just don't trust it to hold, especially because I'm actually going to be using this journal as a daily journal. So I'm using my Fabri-Tac. Love it, love it. I don't know which way this video is going to go, but it's Fabri-Tac. I'm using this anytime I use fabric. I like to use it because I feel it gives a nice strong hold. And this is glossy, but it should still work. The only thing about Fabri-Tac is it will show the bubbles and sometimes come through. But again, you're not going to see this one. So I don't care. I just want it to stick, and I want it to stick good. So I'm eyeballing it, not measuring it. I probably should measure it, but I trust my eyeballs. All right. Should be pretty good. And again, this is the part that you're not going to see. Because this fabric's going to be, this will be covered up by the actual fabric that I'm using to cover the book. Okay, so that's part one. Now I'm just going to let this, where's my bone folder? I'm going to let this, see, Comes right through. But okay, doesn't matter. But this is a good example of when you use this, you see how it will come through the fabric, and you'll see, you know, if I didn't, you know, if I hadn't spread it or whatever, it'll still come through. Now it'll dry, and it'll dry clear. But that is one of the downsides of Fabri-Tac. So just, like if you're going to use it on your cover, which I will, you just got to spread it out more and make it even. So there's that, and I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry. On to the next part. I'm also going to clean that glue off. All ready for the next one. So now I'm going to work on the actual spine of the book. So here is my template, and it was 4 signatures. Remember last time I was like, I don't know if it's 3 or if it's 4. I'm not sure. It's 4. So now what I want to do is, should I stamp this? Should I just stamp it anyway? I think we're gonna stamp it. Just a couple stamps. I do it real quick. The stamp really doesn't even matter. Just some stamps. Here's some out. What do I got? Oh, that's nice. Here we go. Just real quick. So this is Tim Holtz Visual Artistry. We use a couple of that. I have no idea. This was a thrift store find, but it's nice and big. And because I'm stamping on the fabric, and I will be using glue, I'm going to go ahead and just use some archival ink. This is the Ink Roast. Stamp block. Okay. And again, you're not even really going to see this. Little bits will be poking through, which is fine. Just want something on there. Okay. Another one of these. Wipe. And then this script guy here. So yeah, talking about now some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing on this, I haven't done before. So we're going to be finding out together like it, if I can even do it, if it looks good, if I need to troubleshoot, you can help me troubleshoot then. So she always comes up with some really cool stuff. Off of that one. She's nice and sticky. These buds out. So, how you doing? Let's see, this way I don't blog. I get it so far into my head that I just go quiet, turn quiet quickly. But I am really excited for you to see this. I'll try to just keep rambling on. Had another crappy night of sleep last night. Yay me. That's alright. If I have a crappy night tonight, then I'll definitely probably have a better one tomorrow night after having to get up early and babysitting Leo and the girls, because they will exhaust me. Not complaining though. Definitely not complaining. Alright, that's good enough. Just gave it a little something in the background. That's all. Alright, what do I do with the stamps? Put this back. I bet that sounds real nice, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound good? No, it doesn't. But if I don't clean this up, I will run out of room on the desk and won't get very far. I put all that stuff on my rolly cart. It's right there. I love it. All right, so now that I got that, I'll put my ink away. Dry up. That's where I keep my ink in my How to Be a Unicorn box. Ta-da! Brilliant. Okay, so we have this. Now, what I'm going to do is flip it over, and I'm going to glue this little, I wrote a T for top. Maybe I should use it. All right. This is my template for the signatures, so I can sew them in. Actually, I'm going to spread this glue, though. I'll spread her. Okay. T for top. Hopefully get this on here with fairly decent accuracy. Okay. So now I'm sure you can surmise that reason why I'm putting it on the back of it is I will be sewing the signatures on this side. So you won't see this because this will end up getting glued on this. So you won't see it. Okay? So just give that just a second. And then we're gonna poke some holes. Pokey tool, otherwise called an awl. I like pokey tool. And there's a lot of yellows, so I'm going to use this wax thread to sew my signatures in. Just getting my stuff prepped. I need a needle. I don't like to go with the real thick ones because it makes big thick holes. So I like to go with like kind of the smallest I got there. Alright, so just about prepped up. Stick that in there for a second. While I let this dry, I'm going to poke the holes in my signatures. So I know you want to see through the whole thing. I did not think you needed to see me fold every one of these pages. So they are just normal 8.5 by 11 pages that I folded in half, used my normally I would use my bone folder, but I just relocated it, so I was actually using the back of my scissors. I was using this part of my scissors and smooshing them down. So I put all my signatures together. I have 4. And I already went through and made sure all the, you know what I didn't do? I didn't add my other pages to these. Crappy doodle. Let me do that real quick. I know. Well, poop. Now I gotta go through all this. It's okay. It's okay. Because these can be very rough. 4, 1, 2, 3. Did I do just 4? I did. I know what I was doing for once. I did some coffee dyeing on just notebook pages that I took out of one of those composition notebooks. I really like them because when you deconstruct them, the pages stay full. I like it a lot. Alright, let's see where we're going to go here. Let's switch these. I love that sound. The crinkly paper. Love it. Okay. So I kind of want it to be just a smidge smaller than my pages. I'll go, like I said, a smidge smaller, so maybe there. And then just be brave and try to cut a straight line. Save these wonderful scraps. There. Let's see where we're gonna go here. I say here now. Oh, let's go just to that top one ish. those. All right, so that's one page to put in. I'm gonna go, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So between 1 and 2. Two. All right, I need one more. Hang on. Just trying to grab something close. There we go. Remember this? The piano music. Let's see, do I want House That Jack Built? Or, oh, these are Christmas. I can't, I can't. I just can't. I'm gonna go with the House That Jack Built. Here we go. Living room, bedroom, and basement. That sounds good. That sounds good. Since it's the same page. So that's 2. What's on the other side of this? No, skip that one. How about this one? And one more. That's good. That's good. Okay. Yay. All right, so 4 pages. Go ahead. All right, let's see how they fit. I am, because there's so much on it. Let's see. There's quite a bit at the top and bottom. I'm actually going to trim these a little top to bottom. So I go a smidge below the line. Smidge below the line. Same with that. All right. You know what? Let's see if the decal will go through this many pages. It will. It hurts, but it will. Beautiful. Ooh, doesn't like that. It's all right. You shall bow down to me. Paper. All right. Still see some of my pencil mark there. A little bit more rough edge too. All right. Beautiful. Look at all those glorious scraps. Whew. That's gonna be fun to play with. Okay, so that's this. One, two, three, four. I'm just gonna put this right before the middle page. There we go. Nice. Oh, I love how it kind of sticks out there. Oh, I love that. Oh, so, oh, look at that. Look how it sticks out a little bit. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. Push that down. Here's one. It's actually my last one. I'm trying to keep these in the order that I put them in. I like had my own story in my head as I was putting them in there. I'll show you as soon as I'm done. I'll show you. I'll show you my thought process on that. Because your mother is silly. Beautiful. I lost my bone folder. Okay. So here was my thought process. So there's this one, this one, this one, and this one. So it's wintry time. These are like the wintry white berries and the wintry white trees. And then as winter progresses, it starts to get a little bit warmer, and then you start seeing maybe some little bit of green sprouting out. And then, oh, there's a little flower and there's little buds that are popping out, and the leaves are getting greener. And then, woo, bam, flowers and beautiful leaves and beautiful flowers everywhere, and it's springtime. That was my thought process. I made my own story out of the covers of my signatures, because you start beginning of February, right? Not that February gets freaking really warmer here, but you start out in February, and then it gets warmer and warmer, because in March, first day of spring is in March, right? Not that we still don't get snow, but hey, I gotta take coffee. Hang on. Okay. So I got my signatures. Anywho. Where is my... Alright, here's my template for my signatures. I print it, cut it out, and I just folded it in half so that it will sit in the fold. Now, sometimes, depending, I'll get a big book. Get a big book, open it to like middle-ish, right? And then you set these in there, like so. Make sure your pages are where they want to be. And then you put your, that I just covered up. Where'd my template go? And you put your template in there. even. And then you use that book for when you're punching through. I do that sometimes. A lot of times I just put it in there, fold it over, and shove my awl through. And that usually gets me in the middle. And I have the book out, but this isn't the book that when I use it, that's not the one I use. That's my pretty music book. I don't want to use that. Alright, also what you should do, which I have not yet done, is make sure your pages are where you want them. And you should actually clip them. I'm just going to paper clip. A lot of times I'll use my like little sewing clips, but these signatures aren't as thick as some of the ones I use. So I'm okay with this. Just helps your pages from rolling around, you know the dealio. Alright. So this is my first signature. Again, see where I'm at my camera. Again, I'm just lining it up so the top and bottom are hanging off kind of equal. Fold it over a bit. Pokey tool. I know you can't see. I know. But I'm sticking my pokey tool in this hole. I'm going to take the cover off of it. Sticking it right in this hole. Bending it over, and it should come, yep, right there. You want it to come along the edge as much as possible. Now moving up to the top one. Hook 2. And moving it to the bottom hole. Push through. There we go. Got the holes in the first signature. I'm making them just a smidge wider, especially the middle one, because the yarn has to go through that, or the thread has to go through that. And my thread, because I've used it many times now, I'd rather not be on the struggle bus getting it through. So that's signature 1. I'm going to regret not putting the cap on my glue. Signature 1, here's signature 2. Alright, get this paper clipped. What is it with the paper clip train? Okay. So V went to Home Depot this morning and got some subflooring for the piano room, some drywall for it, and did he get anything else? I don't think he got anything else. He was waiting on the wainscoting just for storage reasons. Alright, put these right in there. And he woke up, or yesterday? The other day, he asked me to look in his throat, which I did. And I'm like, I don't see anything, because I didn't see anything. And then he said, oh, I took a picture of my throat. He said this yesterday. I took a picture of my throat. and I think there's something going on. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't see it. And so he said he was going to pop into urgent care today while he was out. And I was like, why don't you just go to the VA? And he's like, well, I don't want to be that guy, and it's not an emergency. And I'm like, okay, so do you want to go to urgent care and then deal with all the paperwork that will come after that because you went to a non-VA facility, or you just want to go to the VA? So he ended up calling because, you know, you can call the VA for a phone appointment. And then depending on what the issue or problem is, why did I just take those off? Depending on what the problem or issue is or what have you, they can either help you over the phone or have you come in right away. So I don't think they had him come in. I think it was all just done by video. And they might have given him something, but they're thinking it's when he did that sleep study, it was a double blind, but whatever he was taking was helping. So at the end of the study, they were able to go in and find out what it was that he was taking, and then they prescribed it for him. And it ended up being Lunesta, and it knocks him out. I tell you what, he doesn't crawl out of bed usually now until sometimes maybe 1:30. A lot of times it's not until like 2:45 when he has to go pick up the girls. That's when he can crawl out of bed. Knocks him for a loop, which cool, he's getting asleep, but not cool because that was one of my complaints about meds, was zero productivity. Great, I got sleep, but I'm a slug all day. What kind of quality of life is that? So the doc that he saw today or talked to today or whatever was like, well, I think this is from the Lunesta. I think it's a side effect. I don't think you actually have anything. So he's supposed to stop taking the Lunesta and see if that clears up. And if it doesn't, you know, I guess he'll go in and they'll do a culture. But yeah, that is that update. So I don't know if something developed between the time he asked me to look, because I think he asked me to look Friday, and yesterday was when he said he took a picture of it. So he might have started feeling the symptoms, but maybe nothing showed up until, you know, for a couple days. But yeah, so that's what's going on there. And because we're not 100% sure of what it is, no kissy my man, because I don't want it. I don't need it. I get enough germs from those kids in that public school. It doesn't matter, public or private. It's a school. It's a public place. And they're kids. Germy little disease machines. That's what they were. Just trying to keep that PG. And if my grandkids ever watch this, yes, you were just little germ monsters and constantly making your Meemaw and Papa ill. Constantly. But we love you. And it was worth it. Yeah. So that's that update. Okay, so I've got all the holes poked in there. Now comes the fun part. Sewing it in. So this again is my back. It'll be sewn like this. This is my front. So they'll be sewn in like this. And this is where I said this will actually be covered by my end papers, but in between the signatures, see, you're going to see this little bit. And that's why I was like, maybe I should stamp it just so it's not so plain. I like that. I like it. I think I made a good decision. All right, let's get our signature shown in. So there's a couple ways you can do this to sew your signature in. One way, as you sew it in, you can sew the first signature in, tie it off, sew the next, tie it off, sew the next, tie it off, sew the next, tie it off. Or you can sew the first signature in, you do tie, but then you just continue, instead of cutting it, the thread, go into the next one, go through, make a knot, and then go in the next one, continuous. Typically, I cut each one. I do that because I make my thread really long, and I use those as my dangles. This one though, I'm not. I'm thinking about doing something different. So I am going to just continuously sew. It'll give me thread on the left and the right if I want it. I don't think I'm doing that. I'm going to do my dangles a different way. Hang on, I need coffee. And smoky tree. Anyway, so the other thing to think about is, do I want the ties to be here so that when you go through, you see the little knot and you have the little threads, which in some I do, because I like that look. It depends on like the look I'm going for in my journal. In some I don't. In this one I'm not, only because there's going to be so much going on in this that I don't need the extra. So you make that decision because that determines where you start sewing. If you want your threads to show, then you start sewing from inside the signature. If you don't want the threads to show, then you start sewing from your spine. Start at your spine. So I don't want mine to show, my threads, and I'm not going to be using them. Since I was waiting for this to dry, I hadn't pre-poked my holes here, so I know where I'm going through my fabric. Pre-poke your holes. For a lot of the people that I follow, the junk journal creators that I follow, for a lot of them, this is their least favorite. They hate sewing in signatures. I don't mind it. I gotta be honest. The pokey tool is my favorite part. There's so much satisfaction to me of poking through the paper and the fabric. I just love it. And also, I don't mind doing like sewing the signatures in, because I'm like, I'm making a book. Tater tot. Mama Fry's making a book. That to me is amazing that we can create a book. So I don't know if you can see the little holes that I made. It's just going to help me with my sewing. So now the rule of thumb typically when you're measuring out your thread is you do 3 lengths of your book. So this would be 1, 2, 3. That usually ends up with, you usually end up with about this much, tail. Now, when I watched Debbie do it with the continuous stitch and she measured out the 3 per, she had so much left over. So I'm wondering, now if I cut myself short, I can always tie off, remeasure. So we're gonna experiment. So I've got 4 signatures. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to measure out enough for 3 signatures and hope for the best. Like I said, if it's too short, I can always tie off, measure out and do it again. Now the fun part, your blind mother threading a needle. That was a really good tip that one of the gals taught. I don't know if you saw that. You take your thread and you just squeeze it between your fingers like that, and then roll the hole over top and it comes through. I've not had to use a needle threader ever since doing that. Alright, so this is going to be nice and long and a pain in my hiney, but that's okay. I'm going to try it. And now my thread's tangled in my scissors. Clean up some of these here. Okay. So, first signature, my first, I got a T for top. My first signature, my first signature. So I'm going to go through the middle. Okay. And then in my signature, I'm going to go through that middle hole. All right. This is what I was talking about, how because of the double, I know I always struggle with it, so that's why I kind of made my hole just a little bit bigger. Keep coming. What am I stuck on? Alright. Pull it through. You have enough to be able to tie off. And then I don't want that coming through, so sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Uh-oh. The dog's coming downstairs. Alright, I'm just gonna... Do you feel like you're at home now? I'm gonna use one of my quilty things. This, just so I don't pull it through. Okay. Now we go up to the top. You can go to the bottom, it doesn't matter. I go to the top next. It's just my preference. Find that hole right there. I pre-poked and pull that through. Okay. Now you're going to go down to the bottom, to your bottom hole. Put that through. And where's my hole? Right there. Pull it through. And now we're going to go through the middle again. And what you want to be sure of is when you go through the middle, you don't want to splice the thread. So you want to make sure that you don't put your needle when you're going through in between the thread like that, because then you won't be able to tighten your thread or adjust it. So try to make sure that you don't split the thread. Find that hole. This is the fun part. Did I split it? I do not believe I did. Let's take a look. I did not. Okay, the other thing, as you come up, you want to make sure that you have one string on one side of your thread and one on the other side. So you see it's all kind of wiggly, loosey-goosey. So now we're gonna just tighten that up. Might have to pull here, and then flip it over, pull these. There we go, like that. All right, and then you want to tie it off. Oh, that's still loose. Tug. I don't want it that loose. There we go. All right, tie that. I like to do a double knot on it. Okay, and then if we were doing it each individual, then I would snip these right here and then start again, exactly how I did this one. But we're going to try that continuous. Now I don't need my clip on this end because it's tied off. So that was signature 1. Now let's get the second signature. And again, start in the middle. Now I'm going to paper clip this closed so it doesn't keep getting in my way. All right, now go through your next signature through the middle hole again. Okay. Through the top. I don't know if you could hear that. That's my stomach growling. Okay. Down to the bottom. Oopsie. That's the one frame. Shaky. All right. And go through and then back through the middle. Don't split the thread. I've split the thread. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to tie this off too. Just making a knot there. Oh, see how loose that is? Let's go ahead and make that tight. There we go. Now let's tie that off. Okay, and paper clip and on to the next one. All right. Third signature. What are we doing? Going through the middle hole. Middle hole. Nice. And then where are we going? Top hole. Good job. Good job. And then where we go? All the way to the bottom. You got it. You got this. Of course, you know, stick your needle in and then pull it back out right away. Don't do that. Don't do that. Bottom. And then where do we go? That's right, middle. And what don't we want to do? Split the thread. Good job. You got this. You're a pro already. Get through. Okay. Need to tighten this one up. It's pretty loosey-goosey there. All right. Tight. Tight. That tight. Pull it through. There we go. There we go. A lot better. And then I'm going to make another knot. All right, final one. Middle. Pop out, because that's what I do. Okay. Top. Top. Pop it out. No, I didn't. Oh man, good job. All right, down to the bottom for the last time. Oh no, did you see it's just slide right out? Cheeky. So cheeky. There we go. I'm gonna make my tail a little bit shorter. I think I did pretty good on this. Just using the three, enough thread for 3 signatures instead of 4. I think I pretty much nailed it. All right. Let's tighten her all up. Pull my strings to tighten them up. You don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to start ripping your pages. Just enough. Just enough to get it kind of tight. There we go. And then we want to tie her off. Maybe make sure you put it through. I'll go ahead and do a double knot on that since it's my final knot, just like I did on the first one. All right, and you don't have to do this, Mama's anal. I like to just make sure these are not going to come undone. Not that tight. This is just a precaution. Okay. There we go. And this is where I said, like, if I have really long tails, that's what I use to like hang out and be dangles. But I do not want that for this journal. So I'm just going to cut my thread. And then I do like to add a dab of glue at my knots and at my holes. Not necessary. I don't know why I do it. Well, I know I do the knots. I want to make sure they don't come undone. But the holes, I don't know. It makes me feel better. Makes me feel like I have a sense of security. It's all about a sense of security. So that is how we do that. I need to let this dry for a second. I have no idea. I didn't start my stopwatch. So what I'm going to do is we're going to stop this video. And then I will come back for part 3. And that's where we will put this all together. Okay? I'll see you then.